About old Jonathan.
What do you do this time?
Came to church half lit.
Oh.
Said he wanted to get baptized again.
He done been baptized 3 times.
Hey, that looks like Coy.
I believe it is.
I sure would like to ride in this.
How you doing, Mr. Coy?
Jefferson, how you been?
Just fine.
Well, hello, Ed. Well, you looking mighty fine.
Coy, it's good to see you.
Oh, great.
Coy, you know my son Tommy?
Oh, yeah.
Tommy, you remember Mr. Matthews at the warehouse last year? He bought some of our tobacco.
Sure, he remembers me. How you doing, Tommy? Hey, Ed, where's your missus? You know, I didn't think you let anybody out of barning.
Well, she's up the other barn working. What are you doing around these parts?
Well, I got to come see the boss. So I thought I'd just stop by and see if you had anything worth buying this year.
Buying, huh? You mean you're giving up stealing, giving people money for what you get nowadays, huh?
Well, now, that depends on what you got, Eb.
Well, I just might have what you're looking for in this barn over here.
Take a look.
Take a look at it.
Let's finish. Let's get through here before sundown. Yes, ma'am. Did you know Lynn and Billy Boy got married last week?
Oh, no. I guess you done hung yourself this time.
You're gonna get married, Jefferson.
When roosters stop chasing hens and women stop chasing men.
Well, I ain't getting married.
Tommy, get out of that car, son. You know better than that.
Oh, it's all right, Eb. He can't hurt nothing. Hey, maybe he'd like to take a ride with me. I haven't backed myself.
Well, I don't see any harm in that. You go up to the house and clean up a little bit before you go riding off.
Well, I guess school will be starting pretty soon.
Yeah, and I ain't had no vacation.
Working tobacco, huh? Yeah, I know what that's like. I don't get to work in the fields much anymore. Kind of miss it in a way.
Miss it? Don't much see how anyone could miss staying out there all day, getting all hot, getting that tobacco gum all over you. Sometimes I feel like I've turned into a darn tobacco stalk.
Yeah, I guess you got a point. Of course, it's better than being cooped up all the time, stuck in the same old building. Boy, I'm glad I don't have to do that kind of work. Oops, time for me to do some of my work. Excuse me while I do a little advertising.
I guess you spend most of your time in the warehouses.
Well, part of it, but I do a lot of traveling. Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee, and all places in between.
Well, what for?
Well, they grow tobacco in a lot more places in North Carolina. I go there to buy it. Brightleaf, Maryland, Burley. Here, hold it for me. I bet you never heard of Burley.
What's that?
Well, that's the kind of tobacco they grow west of here. They don't fire it like you do your Brightleaf. They cure it in opened up air barns like Maryland leaf.
You just go around buying all the time?
Well, I wish I could, but buying season don't last about half the year. The other half, times like today, well, I'm selling tobacco.
Selling?
Products, boy, products. Snuff, cigarettes, chew. Sell about every store around. Matter of fact, I got to stop by Mr. Patterson. How are you?
Howdy.
You ladies come back to see us.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. That's my brandy.
Afternoon, Mr. Patterson.
Well, looky here. Howdy, Coy. Who's your friend here?
Oh, this is Tommy, Ed Clements' boy from old Bahama.
I know him. He let you out with a character like this, Tommy.
You keep talking like that, and I'm not going to give you your present.
Now, where in the world have I got room for another one of those?
Right here. Here you go, Tommy. Now, Mr. Duke will never miss that one.
Why don't you keep it?
I guess you don't work for Mr. Duke.
Not hardly, my friend.
Well, you couldn't hardly have said that a while back, now could you?
No?
Wasn't so far back you wanted to work in tobacco. You had to work for Mr. Duke.
Of course, I remember back before there was any Mr. Duke, when old Wash himself didn't have
Oh, Liv, you're not that old. That's back before the war between the states.
I'm old enough to remember Bennett's place when Sherman and Johnston was there.
Don't you boys know? Lem here's 134 years old. Old as Moses.
Now, boy, do you know about what happened at Bennett's place?
No, sir.
Well, it's high time you was finding out. And now's as good a time to start as any. Now, let's get away from these here know-it-alls.
How about a cigarette? Now, that's the kind of present I like. Free samples.
Mr. Patterson?
No, thank you.
Bet I got the kind of story you like, too. Say, one time there was this traveling salesman. He's going down through tobacco country, and he run up on a bunch of boll weevils, and it...
So while General Johnston and General Sherman was talking over at Bennett's, their troops was stealing things right and left. Bunch of them got into some bright leaf stored in a barn close by. Them boys had never had no tobacco like that. Well, anyway, when the war was over and they went back home, they started riding back down to Durham Station. There weren't no town here then, to see if they could get some more. And so Mr. Green and Mr. Blackwell started selling the stuff. That's how Bull Durham got started. And so did some others, including Mr. Duke.
You don't mean to tell me you got that story finished already, Lem. That's not much like you.
Oh, well, what you talking about? Well, me and Tommy here, we just getting started real good.
Well, how about finishing up later? Tommy, we got to be going.
Well, all right. Now, you be sure and come back to see me again, you hear?
Yes, sir. Is that Mr. Duke they're talking about? The one from over in Durham?
Well, depends. Sometimes they were talking about that Mr. Duke's daddy, old man Washington Duke. Back just after the war between the states, Washington Duke started making smoking tobacco up on his farm. He loaded it on his wagon and peddled it throughout the eastern part of the state. Sold it right off the back of the wagon. Did right good, too, him and the mule. Mr. Buck Duke, the old man's son, now, he was a real go-getter. Time he got into business, though, they'd moved it into Durham to be near the railroad. Mr. Buck, he was the one that really got the Dukes in the cigarette business.
Well, my daddy makes cigarettes. I seen him do it.
Well, sure he does, but I bet he rolls them one at a time, huh?
Well, yeah.
Well, they all used to be made by hand, but the Dukes, they were the first to figure out how to make cigarettes by machine in a big way. So with cigarettes and all the other tobacco business, it wasn't long before the Dukes wound up with so much money that they ended up in control of just about all the tobacco in the whole world.
The whole world?
Yep. And they called the business the American Tobacco Company. And boy, let me tell you, that was big business. Too big, it turned out. About 15 years ago, the government busted it up.
Busted it up? What's that mean?
Well, they turned it back into a lot of smaller companies, like the one I work for. Mr. Reynolds has one, and there's Philip Morris and Liggett Myers and P. Laura.
You mean there ain't no more American Tobacco Company?
Sure, there's the American Tobacco Company, but it's just a lot smaller than it used to be. Old Buck Duke found other things to spend his money on. He's got a company that makes electricity, and the family's putting a lot of money into a college here in Durham. Well, gotta go in and see the boss. Shouldn't take me just a few minutes. I hope you don't mind waiting out here.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello?
Who are you?
I came with Mr. Matthews. He's in the house there talking to his boss.
Oh, my daddy. My name's Grace Phillips. What's yours?
Tommy Clements.
What you got there?
Not much. Just an old poster.
Let me see. Do you think she's pretty? My mother's a lot prettier than that.
She is?
Well, if you could see her, you'd know it too. But she's not here. She's over in Greensboro spending the weekend with Aunt Lucille. I know. Come on. I know Mama's pictures are in here somewhere.
Well, what's this?
That's one of those cigarette places over in town.
Well, how about this?
That one? Proximity Mill. Something to do with cotton.
You got all kinds of pictures of mills and things here.
Yes, Daddy's thinking of putting some of his money into cotton.
But I thought he was a tobacco man.
Sure he is, but lots of tobacco people run cotton mills. Mr. Carr from over here in Durham sort of started things with a cotton manufacturing company. Then there was Ben Duke. You've heard of him, haven't you?
I thought Mr. Buck Duke
No.
was
Ben Duke is the one who took some of that tobacco money and used it for cotton. He helped the Irwins and Mr. Combe from Greensboro.
Aren't those little bags smoking tobacco comes in made of cloth?
Right, muslin bags. That's what those mills started with. But now they make other things like cloth for those overalls you're wearing.
So, all those mills are owned by tobacco men?
Well, no, not exactly. But a lot of them got started from tobacco, like Mr. Haynes and Winston. My daddy says the Dukes bought up his tobacco business, and he took some money and started a mill. My daddy says he's making all kinds of money.
Sure are a lot of pictures of you in here.
Oh, Daddy had those made to give away to family. You want one?
Tommy, we gotta be going. It's gonna be dark as it is time we get home.
Tommy, is that you?
Well, howdy, Miss Clemment. Told them about having you back on time.
Well, thank you. Won't you stay for supper? We've got fresh peach pie.
That sounds mighty good. No, ma'am, I gotta get on down the road. Tommy, you take care now.
What do you say, son?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Matthews.
That's Coy.
Yes, sir.
And don't forget your poster.
Now, Mr. Matthews, you come by for some of that pie when you've got more time to visit.
Yes, ma'am, I surely will. Good night.
Good night. What have you got there, son?
Just an old poster.
Well, run down to the barn and see when your daddy will be ready to eat.
Yes, ma'am.
That ought to hold it a couple of hours. How's it look to you?
Yes, sir. That looks just fine. Fine enough to turn that tobacco nice and bright. Want me to keep an eye on it for a while?
No, why don't you just run on up to the house and get something to eat?
Okay, but I'll be right back.
I'll be here.
Well, now, look who finally found his way home.
Hello, Jefferson.
How you doing, Tommy?
That little ride to town took quite a while. Durham still there?
Yeah. Daddy?
Well, now, that's a right pretty little girl.
Her name's Grace Phillips. I met her when Mr. Matthews, Coy, went to see his boss.
Yep, right pretty.
And Daddy, she lives in a great big house, and they have a new car bigger than that one Coy drives. And Daddy, I just got to get me a job.
A job? What do you mean a job, son? You've got a job already. Ain't you been working here with me all summer?
No, I mean a real job. A job where I can make me some money. A job maybe like that one Grace's daddy has.
Mm-hmm. Well, son, there's a lot of things you got to learn about this job first. about how to work with tobacco and how to get the money out of it. And your mother and I, we were thinking maybe we could send you to college later on. Help you get that job you want so bad. Of course, someday if you want to come right back here, the farm will be yours if you want it.
Daddy, if you was me, what would you do?
Hard to say, son. I guess I'd go right on doing what I've been doing ever since I started working in these fields with my daddy. You know, they say tobacco's a 13-month crop. And they're right. There's just something about it. Say, isn't it about time for supper?
Oh, yeah. Mama sent me down to find out when you want to eat.
Well, you run along till I'll be up there shortly. Hey, what else you got there?
Oh, just an old poster Mr. Patterson gave me.
Uh-huh. Well, you go on up, and I'll keep this.
I guess I pretty much made up my mind that night that I'd be a tobacco farmer like my father. However, I went on to college and got a degree in agriculture. I really needed that education too. Things have changed a lot since I was a boy. Mules were replaced by tractors long ago. But even the tractors are always changing, getting larger, doing more of the work. We fertilize the land while we plow it, use insecticides and herbicides to get large crops never dreamed of by my father. We still transfer the young plants from seed beds to the fields. But machines have replaced the slow, back-breaking labor of placing each plant in its position, row after row, field after field, and the machine even waters and fertilizes the plant as it goes along. With a lot of care, a lot of work, and a little luck, the plants mature to thick, beautiful rows of tall, green tobacco, soon to be turned into real fine Carolina bright leaf. I even harvest my crop a lot different now. And these types of machines have all but done away with the menial labor of hand priming in larger fields. Dad would find it hard to believe a machine could do this kind of work. He also wouldn't believe how we cure the tobacco now. We use what we call bulk barns that hold 3 times as much tobacco as log barns and can be packed a whole lot faster than the old barns. The critical curing temperatures are carefully regulated and timed automatically to produce a barn of beautiful, bright tobacco. Now, one thing that hasn't changed a whole lot, at least outwardly, is the auction of the loose leaf tobacco. It still has all the color and excitement as when my father took me to the opening of the market. But its pace has gotten a lot faster. And talk about getting faster. These cigarette machines can make up to 5,000 cigarettes a minute. Cigarettes and other tobacco products made in the United States are shipped all over the world. Tobacco is big business, not just in the South, but the whole United States. It accounts for nearly 3% of the gross national product. Now that's over $50 billion of the nation's economy. Tobacco taxes amount to more than $20 billion for federal, state, and local governments, and it provides jobs, lots of jobs. 2,067,000 people work in one way or another with tobacco in the United States. And to stay this big requires a lot of innovation and research, such as the kind that is done up at the Tobacco Research Station at Oxford, North Carolina. The scientists are developing tobacco with lower tar levels, but with just as much flavor and taste. They're constantly developing new strains of tobacco here, types that are more resistant to the many diseases and parasites that affect the plant. Yes, times have changed. Everything changes to some degree. But I still love tobacco farming. Wouldn't trade it for anything. 2 of my sons help me run the farm. Someday it'll be theirs. The old barn, I just keep it around for sentimental reasons, I guess. Reminds me of the old days. You know, I wonder whatever happened to Coy.